Hello friends, welcome to the session. In this session, we will discuss Indian political thought, and the personality we are going to discuss is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Friends, architect of the Indian Constitution, leader of the depressed class, a very learned and qualified man, B.R. Ambedkar, his writings and his practices were the testament of his life, and this was his message that even after being considered as the Masiha or as the god of the depressed classes, his message was that my life is my message. Okay, there is a much in Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar's writings and social practices to consider him as a philosopher. Even though he is considered as a very fine man, very learned man, he was the first Law Minister of India. He was the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution of India. But moreover, through his writings, through the analysis of his writing, we can say that inside of his heart, he was more of a philosopher in nature. Okay. This year we are celebrating 130th year of his birth anniversary. He was born on 14th April. And he was born in a very lower class, which was considered to be a very, very depressed class in the Indian social system, the Mahar class, and very less opportunities were available to the members of those social classes for study, to contest in the elections, to make their opinion or whatever they can do at that particular time. But Ambedkar himself make a leap, and he tried to put up an example by his work and writings. Okay. Later in his period, when he was later in his life, when he was serving as serving our country through his various works, he got attached to Buddha's teachings, and he also accepted the religion Buddha. Okay, he got Buddhism, and we can say that he tried to challenge. He was familiar with the debates around socialism, particularly revolving around the critique of capitalism that informed the Fabian school. Fabian school, in the sense, it is a branch of we can say the thinkers or believers who put that revolution is not the way to sort the things out. Revolution does not lead towards a good goal. This is they say that the peaceful revolution or the peaceful discourses, peaceful representation is the only way so that the society can remain stable and the changes can be brought. Okay. Now, the philosophical interests of Ambedkar, as we are talking about Ambedkar in sort of some educational sense, so we will more discuss on his philosophy, his political thought. So his philosophical interests revolved around metaphysical questions such as the nature of the self and being human. What is human nature? How a human can evolve? What is the relationship of a body with its soul and between the bodies itself and the nature and the consciousness? He was of the opinion that it is very important for you to get developed within yourself, that will reflect on your face, that will reflect on your work, that will reflect in your personality. Until and unless you do not make your soul developed, your body cannot get developed. Epistemological questions such as modes of and approaches to knowledge. What is knowledge? How the knowledge can be attained? And how using that knowledge you can do something for yourself and for your society. Okay, so these were some philosophical ideas of Ambedkar. As I already told you, being a political figure, being instrumental at a very high scale in the constitution making process, in the capacity of first Law Minister of India and members of various other committees, he was more of a philosophical in his nature. Now, the third philosophical point of view was ethical questions, particularly the relationship between the morality and the regimes of right on the one hand and societal values and human freedom on the other. As you already know that Ambedkar gave a torch. Ambedkar was holding a torch of the depressed classes, the masses who used to deny the fundamental rights, the fundamental opportunities of development, to attain education, to attain knowledge, to attain freedom. He was bearing that torch, and he passed over that torch to his believers. And what he was saying that if you are depressed, the society will say you that this is your duty. whatever the demeanor, whatever the mean work you are supposed to perform, the society will tell you that this is your duty, and after performing this duty you can only attain salvation. And the works of higher values, the higher class will retain those work with them. B.R.Ambedkar said, unless you are not having access to the education, you are not having access to the knowledge, you are not having access to the justice, liberty, equality, democratic system is not there, you will not be able to, the depressed classes will not able to develop themselves. They will not be able to see you beyond their boundaries, beyond the shackles they are put into. Okay. So even after, you have to go beyond the ethnicity. If you have to break the moral laws in order to attain that freedom, that is also correct. And on this point, there was a lot of debate and also the criticism of Ambedkar, like in the Pune Pact. Okay, before the Pune Pact, in the round table conferences, the electoral college was divided by the Britishers, and some seats have been, we can say, reserved. And the electoral college was also different for them. Then in Pune Act, Gandhi and Ambedkar came to a solution, and they said that okay, these seats will be reserved, but the electorate will be joint. Okay. Now the political ideas. So we can say that Ambedkar, through the result of Pune Pact, we can say that Ambedkar was ready to go beyond the limit. Ambedkar was ready to go beyond the morality and ethnicity. That was, in his opinion, that morality and that ethnicity was established by the higher class people. They said that this is only the right thing, so that others cannot even think beyond that. Okay, so that shows the postmodernism view of Ambedkar, that who says that this is right and who says that what we are doing is wrong. You are the only one who have established that. God has provided nothing in that sense, and that is why he was so much of criticism to the Hindu as a religion in the way of worship sense. That is why he also adopted Buddhism. Political ideas of Ambedkar revolved around following questions. What does it mean to be a human and a citizen? How a country can change the lives of its citizen? How does one live in a tradition if the modern public is an autonomous sphere made of free and equal members? How to ensure its continuity over time and intergenerationality? Okay. If people are not free, if the king or the leaders are not elected through a democratic system, then the elected ones have no right to put foundations upon those who were not the member of the electoral process. There is a place for religion in our public life, and if so, what is the nature of such religion? He was, as I told you, he was the critique of the Hinduism as a religion. He also studied too many religions, like the Hinduism, Islam, Zoroastrian, Judaism, almost. He was a very learned man. He was having postgraduate in more than 60 subjects. Okay, so he was a very learned man, and he provided a very critical approach towards anything. In whatever the sphere he was working, he provided a very, very critical approach in that. Now some of the critics of Ambedkar said that to attain those rights for the scheduled classes, for the oppressed classes, he somehow jeopardized the interest of India as a country. This was a criticism of Ambedkar at that time, and also in the modern time some political thinkers or some historians also think in that way. But I will explain you in very short that this was not wrong. Critique of social evils and opposition from Gandhi. As I was telling you, Ambedkar ultimately suggested that intercaste marriage is the only remedy to destroy caste. Whether Gandhi said that caste should not be treated as a parameter of the human value. Every caste, members of every caste carries some speciality between them, and intergenerational intercaste marriage will somehow diminish those specializations. Okay. In the Annihilation of Caste, Ambedkar also provided a critique of the Hindu social order, and that criticism was so strong that even Mahatma Gandhi in Harijan described him as a challenge to Hinduism. Mahatma Gandhi said that the political and social ideas of Ambedkar are somehow very dangerous for the Hindu as a religion. Okay. There are some images I am showing you here. Ambedkar as in the round table conferences. Here Ambedkar meeting the our first president, Mr. Rajendra Prasad, as the first law minister, as the member of the cabinet assembly, and as the chairman of the drafting committee. Now this is a very funny image. This is the image actually I put in here because whatever will be the differences between the Ambedkar and Gandhi, but those differences were very creative in nature. They both were actually criticizing each other for the development. The main aim was to development, as is now we can say. There are also some political thinkers who said that that was a constructive debate, constructive criticism of each other, which actually led to the change in the Indian society, as I was describing. Somehow, through the Pune Pact, Ambedkar acknowledges the request of Mahatma Gandhi and shift towards the joint electorate and reserve system than the special electorate. So, as you can see here, that Ambedkar was a man of very high moral standards. He was bearing that torch of freedom, equality, justice, knowledge, belief to the oppressed classes as a Dalit leader. And the thoughts of Ambedkar are also still relevant in the political sphere of India and all over the world. Now the important questions which may be considered here. The negotiation between the Gandhi and Ambedkar for Pune Pact showed Ambedkar's commitment for integrated to equitable Indian society. In what way the Ambedkar actually compromised with Mahatma Gandhi? It shows his commitment. Okay, if Gandhi was saying that at that particular situation in the McDonald Award or in 1932-1934, it was more important for India to remain integrated in societal terms. That is why Ambedkar somehow compromised, which shows that he was also as much as dedicated to the freedom of India as any other leader of Congress was. Okay. Second question, very important. Political idea of Ambedkar developed through a resistive ideological perspective and later on. So here we can say, as in my previous lectures, you must have read about the ideology, the importance of ideology in political science. So the ideology of Ambedkar was resistive in nature. Whatever being established at that time, Ambedkar was resisting to that. And after in his career at a later stage, he provides some, we can say, some constructive solutions to the problems. Okay, so his ideology in terms of pure political science terms, if we define the ideology of Ambedkar, then it was resistive ideology, and to which it was resisting the established social order and political order of the India. Okay, so friends, that's all for the lecture. Thank you very much.